Hello friends, myself Priyanka Singh from Thakur Publication Private Limited. Today my topic is from UP BCom second semester financial accounting subject, chapter number 3, that is royalty account. I have already taught you the basic of royalty account in my previous lecture. Those who have not find it, please go to the playlist and get it from there. Today my topic focus is on accounting record for royalty in the book of landlord or lessor. In this accounting record, we will cover three situations. First one is when royalty is less than minimum rent. Second one is when royalty is more than minimum rent. And the third situation is when the royalty is equal to minimum rent. Without wasting much of your time, we will start from the accounting treatment in the book of royalty account. Okay. So today we'll consider only the in the book of landlord. Accounting record. Accounting record can be done starting with the preparation of journal. So accounting record can be done in two forms. First, while preparing journal entry, passing journal entry, and then the preparation of ledger. Now today we'll consider only in the book of landlord. Landlord is a person who has the asset. We can call him as a lessor. For landlord, lessee. For landlord, lessee is an assets. He treat them as an asset. He treat them as a debtor. Okay. And royalty received. And the royalty received is income for the landlord. And the other term, the short working. The short working is considered as an royalty reserve. For landlord, lessee is a debtor. For landlord, royalty is an income. For landlord, royalty reserve is an income. Keeping these three things in mind, we will pass the journal entry. So in the landlord book, we don't use word short working account. We use the word royalty reserve account. Why royalty reserve account? Because royalty reserve is that amount which can be in the future we can recover. If there is a surplus amount the landlord get from the royalty, then the lessee has a right to recover that amount from the landlord. So we, instead of using the word short working account, we use the word royalty reserve account. First we'll see the first situation. First we'll start with the first situation when the royalty is less than minimum rent. Whenever the royalty is less than minimum rent, it means there is a short working. Means royalty earn is less. Royalty earn is 6,000 and the minimum rent is 10,000. Then the short working or royalty reserve is 4,000. Okay. So the first entry which we are going to pass with the help of this example is royalty receivable. Royalty receivable. Royalty is not yet received, but it is earned. So if the royalty is earned, what entry landlord will pass in his book? That lessee account debit. Why lessee account debit? Because lessee is a debtor, as I have already said. Debtor is an asset for the landlord. So debtor is going to increase. He is going to get the money from the lessee. How much money he is going to get? He is going to get 10,000 rupees. Okay. Royalty to royalty receivable. In this 10,000 amount, 6,000 is rupees royalty receivable. And the remaining 4,000 is the short working or royalty reserve. So total 6 plus 4 is 10,000. So lessee is going to get the money, not yet received, but receivable amount is 10,000. So first entry is lessee to royalty receivable to royalty reserve. Then the next entry will be, this is the receivable amount entry, due amount entry. The next entry will be the amount is going to get, means received amount entry. For receiving that amount, what entry he is going to pass? Bank account debit. Why bank account debit? Because money is, he is getting the money in the form of cash bank. Okay, a lesser is going to reduce. Lessee is going to reduce his liability. So here the entry will be bank to lessee. Bank to lessee, how much he'll get? He'll get the total amount. Total amount means the minimum rent was 10,000. So he'll get total 10,000 minimum rent. Okay. Then for closing the royalty receivable account, this royalty amount now he'll transfer to the P&L. Here the royalty receivable amount was 6,000. So this royalty receivable amount here, it will at the end of the year it will be closed. Closed means we will transfer that amount in the profit and loss account. So the entry of 6,000 will be transfer, the amount of 6,000 will be transfer in the profit and loss account. So this three entry will be passed in the case of when the royalty is less than minimum rent. But in the examination, if they ask open the minimum rent account, open the minimum rent account means you have to skip this entry. Instead of this entry, you have to open the minimum rent account. For opening the minimum rent account, what we'll do? We'll pass lessee account debit to minimum rent. First entry will be the lessee account debit to minimum rent. The amount will be of the minimum rent amount. That is the minimum rent is 10,000. So first entry is of lessee to minimum, that is of 10,000 rupees. Then we have to close this minimum account. From where we will close? Because this minimum amount is divided into two parts. One the actual royalty received, other is the short working reserve. Short working reserve, that amount which lessee has paid from himself. Okay, so the minimum rent account, we are closing this minimum rent account. So we are passing rupees 10,000 minimum rent account, 10,000 debit to royalty receivable. Royalty receivable, how much we have received the royalty? That is of 6,000 rupees. And the short working reserve, the reserve amount that lessee has paid from his own pocket is 4,000 rupees. If we see, when in the question minimum rent account has to be open, we have to pass two entry. One is of the payment, other is of transferring. When we pass this two entry, see the minimum account here it is credited, so cancel. Here it is debited, so cancel. So what entry will remain? Lessee account debit, that is 10,000, to royalty receivable, that is 6,000, to short working or royalty reserve or royalty suspense, 4,000. The same entry which we have passed earlier will after deducting the minimum rent account, it will look like the same entry in the first case we have passed. So as such, whenever in question they will ask this thing that you open minimum rent account, at that time only you have to open, otherwise you have to pass the normal entry, means lessee to royalty receivable to royalty reserve. The second situation is when royalty is more than minimum rent, then in that case here the royalty is more. Whenever the royalty is more means there is a surplus amount. Here in this case, if we see, because I have said royalty is more than the minimum amount, means there is a generation of surplus amount. The minimum rent is 10,000, the surplus amount is 6,000. See, okay. Now on the basis of this digit, we'll pass the entry. Because the minimum amount is less and royalty amount is more, so there is a surplus of 6,000 rupees. So the lessee has an option to recover his excess amount which he has paid in the first year, like 4,000 rupees. So first entry, the same entry we will pass, lessee to royalty receivable. Here there is no short working, so we are not passing lessee to royalty receivable to royalty reserve. Here directly we'll pass lessee account debit to royalty receivable. How much amount it will be? It will be of 16,000. The amount which we'll put over here is the maximum amount which we are getting. That is the royalty amount, 16,000. Next, because we are having the option to recover that amount, we are having 6,000 surplus amount, so we'll pass another entry of recoupment of short working, that is of bank account debit. Bank account will be debited of minimum rent amount, that is 10,000. Royalty reserve account, royalty reserve account will be, we will recoup 4,000 rupees, so we will write over here 4,000 rupees. Then to lessee account, that is 14,000 rupees. Okay, in the first case we had a short working of 4,000, that's why we have recovered only 4,000 rupees from the surplus. So the entry is bank 10,000, short working or royalty reserve account 4,000, to lessee account 14,000. After this, we will write off that royalty reserve account as well as royalty receivable amount. Whenever there is an income or expense in the end of the year, we will transfer it in the P&L account. This is a normal rule which we follow in our accounting. So here there is a excess of 2,000 rupees in our royalty reserve account. So we will transfer that royalty reserve account 2,000 rupees in our P&L account, and the royalty receivable amount was 14,000 rupees in the P&L. So this is the case of when the royalty is more than minimum rent account. Now in the next situation, when the royalty receivable is equal to minimum rent. This is a very simple situation, because in this case we don't have to do anything, just we have to copy the same journal entry which we have passed in the first. Is when the royalty is due or royalty is earned. In that case, lessee account debit to royalty receivable. So the royalty amount was, both are equal, royalty amount also or minimum rent also, means both are rupees 10,000. Royalty receivable is also 10,000 and minimum rent also is 10,000. So the entry will be, due entry will be lessee account debit to royalty receivable, that is of 10,000. Next entry will be of received entry, means that amount has been received by the landlord. How much he will receive? Due amount, the whole due amount he will going to get the payment of it. So it is of 10,000. Bank account debit, because bank is increasing by rupees 10,000 and lessee now he is no more able to pay the amount, because the debtor, the asset has been reduced, because he has already paid the 10,000 rupees. So to lessee account, closing entry. Closing entry means that receivable amount will be transferred in the P&L account at the end of the year, that is of 10,000 rupees. These three situations you will find in the numerical also. There may be situation when the royalty is less than, there may be situation when the royalty is more, there may be situation when the royalty is equal. So whatever the situation will be, according to that we have to pass the journal entry. Now this is the entry. Now we will start with the numerical portion.